Now to Kanye West. He is not a stranger to controversy, and he's back in the headlines this week for his comments about former President George W. Bush. We're going to hear from him in a moment, but first, as we've mentioned, President Bush opens up in his new memoir about that famous moment when West said George Bush doesn't care about black people. It's something I asked President Bush about when we sat down recently in Texas.
I didn't appreciate it then, and I don't appreciate it now. It's one thing to say, I don't appreciate the way he's handled his business. It's another thing to say this man's a racist. I resent it. It's not true. And it was one of the most disgusting moments of my presidency.
Here's a two-term president who ran the country during Katrina, 9/11, wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the financial meltdown. And he's pointing the finger at Kanye West and that incident as the worst moment in his presidency. I asked Kanye West to respond to President Bush's remarks.
As far as it being the worst moment of his presidency, I can't really speak to that, but as his take, his explanation, I completely agree with, and I empathize with totally. And I felt like that the entire time that, I was being, hailed as a hero, and everyone saying, yo, I'm so happy you said that, and I didn't like you before, but now I like you because you said this, and you just sit there and in your heart as a person that in a moment of emotion to peg someone or to call a name or peg someone as a racist is not, it's just not right.
Yeah, there was great frustration with the response to Hurricane Katrina. And there we were standing there. It was just a few days, less than a week afterward. But while most people expressed frustration, you did take it across a line. And you said you made it a little more sinister, that the federal response to Katrina was because of race. And so do you regret having said that now?
I don't want to speak on the word regret. And I think a lot of things that happen in America, period, are because of race, just the way this country was built and the struggles we've had to get into, positions, through media, through social positions, through gentrification, through like so many. It's a way bigger conversation than that. But what I wanted to speak to with Bush was just to say that I empathize with the idea of being pegged as a racist.
Just play the tape. Don't even listen this time. I want you to just look at his face when he is commenting about you. And just look at him. I mean, this is the most emotional he got during my entire 3.5-hour interview with him. What would you say to him if he would meet with you face to face? And I'm not sure he would, but if he would.
I mean, I didn't need you guys to show me the tape in order to prompt my emotion to what I'm going to say.
No, I'm just asking you, when you look at his face, what would you say to him?
I mean, pre-looking at his face, I came up here because I wanted to say something to him right after the fact. I would say, what I'm saying? It's like I don't even have to do the TV stuff with me. This is reality. This is the real thing going on. This is, what I'm saying? I don't need all the jazz. I would say can we be quiet for a second? I would tell George Bush, in my moment of frustration, that I didn't have the grounds to call him a racist.
And you're sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for...
I think I get the point.
I want to give it the exact perfect wording, because everything that I say gets taken and drawn into headlines, and I'm here to man up to different mistakes that I made and speak to the moment when I pegged George Bush as a racist. I came here to say that I made mistakes, that I've grown as a person, and that it's not as easy as boxing someone into a villain role or into a race role. I did not have the enough information in that situation to call him a racist. That might have been the emotion that I felt. But me being a rational, well thought out, empathetic human being, and thinking about it after the fact, I would have chosen different words. Even in these times where I was considered to have done something so wrong, my motivation was from a good place. Maybe mistimed, maybe not the right wording, not using or realizing the power of my words and the way they would stop the internet. But nonetheless, that it's very pure and from a good place.
So it sounds to me, not to oversimplify it, what you're saying is we're human, we make mistakes, but we have to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And during the interview, Kanye West also told me that he empathized with President Bush because he, too, talking about Kanye here, was called a racist when he interrupted Taylor Swift at the 2009 MTV Music Awards. As we often do on Today, we rolled video of that moment during his answer. We're going to show you his reaction in a moment. But after our interview, Kanye fired off several tweets, including this one. Quote, "I really wonder if Matt Lauer thought that blank was cool to play the MTV clip while I was speaking about Bush," end quote. Here's the moment Kanye's talking about. We're alluding to when you walked onto the VMAs and grabbed the mic from Taylor Swift, and some people said this wasn't a guy expressing his musical preference. This was a guy who was making a statement about race, that Beyonce was better than Taylor Swift, and you got accused of racism.
Yeah, exactly. And it was so funny to me that it could be a race thing, because where I was expressing was my frustration from years and years of seeing, you know, yo, how am I supposed to talk if you're going to run this thing in the middle while I'm talking?
It's under. You won't be hearing it.
But I'm hearing it while I'm trying to talk.
Okay, can you take the sound out of the overheads, please? Just pick up. You said it wasn't a race thing.
Please don't let that happen again. It's like ridiculous.
You know, it's something we do every day when a guest is talking about an incident or a location. We run video of that location or that incident. There was nothing improper about it, nothing unusual about it whatsoever. And we should mention that President Bush was here on Wednesday. He said he appreciated West's apology. So that's what all the hubbub is about.
Okay. Doesn't seem like much, but...
And we look forward to Kanye's return for a special live concert on the Plaza Friday, November 26th. That is the day after Thanksgiving.